Hello, my curious ones. Welcome to a new video. I'm sure you've wondered how animals see on more than one occasion while taking a shower, so now I've taken it upon myself to investigate for you. You'll see, we don't have the most privileged view of the world after all. Sit down for a while and get comfortable. Due to the enormous variety of fish that exist, it is difficult to generalize, but most of them have enviable vision. Their eyes are adapted to see underwater without any problem, but in the dark and to capture details at great distances. Some species even have the ability to see in ultraviolet light. Imagine if our vision could do all that. What a difference it would make compared to humans, who do not have eyelids like ours but can see almost the same number of colors that we do. Like many mammals, rats have their eyes on the sides of their heads. This gives them a wide field of vision, useful for detecting predators. And by predators, I mean you with a broom. Recently, a group of scientists discovered that rats move their eyes independently, somewhat like chameleons. So they have two images of the world. However, it is believed that they connect them to become one. One of the advantages of this is that they perceive everything in slow motion. Even so, a rat's vision is quite blurry and its depth perception is poor. They also do not perceive the color red. So, I would not like to be a rat. It is very fun after all. Inside the eye there are two types of cells, the colonists and the reasons. Cats have more reasons than with those inside their eye, and how the rods capture much more luminosity than thinks the cat's eye, up to 6 times more expensive darkness than humans who do not know. And in case you have forgotten you are a cat, another big difference is that humans capture clear images at a maximum distance of between 30 and 60 meters in cats, and that habitat is reduced to only 7 meters. Seeing those scenes, let's say that cats use an Instagram filter their voice. They can distinguish certain realities of brown, yellow and blue, but it was notified I already know red and green. Have you ever tried to kill a fly without much success? The Muscovite. Quickly you feel like a fool. Don't feel that way, although it may be invested in people. It is no longer funny. Seriously, this happens because what has happened to you in 12 seconds in the life of the fly has been much slower. Greece of studies discovered that the smaller an animal and the faster its metabolism. See, if it goes, the time moves more slowly, so the world passes through their eyes more basically, as is the case with some fish, whose vision of music can also perceive ultraviolet light, although seeing it so blurry. I think flies don't have a good time at all. In the universe of insects, sight seems to be one of the least important things. There are other senses that are more important, such as smell and taste. For example, in the case of the bee, they must approach a flower to a distance of 5 centimeters to distinguish it from plants and leaves. Fortunately, they do not only use their sense of sight and not the poor old habitat. Now that you have it against the bees, what they can see the most is that bees cannot see the color red at all, rather they see it as a dark blue. This characteristic helps them in their pollination. As in the previous cases, bees can also distinguish ultraviolet light, which in turn makes it easier for them to know where the pollen is. Situ was one of those who thought that dogs see in black and white. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you're wrong. Your entire childhood was full of lies. Dogs see in color, but with a spectrum that is different from humans. The difference is that their vision consists of 2 types of color receptors instead of the 3 that humans have. So they are not able to distinguish well the shades of colors between red and yellow, so they see them as greenish and gray tones. It is also believe that dogs can see between 4 and 5 times better in the dark compared to us, and their vision is much more developed to capture moving objects. The vision of birds is truly incredible. Eagles, for example, can see small objects at great distances. Their vision is necessary for survival, but other birds, such as pigeons, also have very sharp vision. They are capable of observing details at great distances. And it is even believed that they can recognize the expression of emotions on a human face, as well as the identity of that person. I recommend not getting into trouble with a pigeon, or you will suffer the consequences later. Don't say I didn't see you. The eyes of humans and the eyeballs of cows have a very similar structure. The huge difference is that they perceive almost everything between orange and red colors. It is also believed that objects are much larger than they actually are, which is why they do not like to be too close. I work well, and I am beginning to believe that you do not like any animal. They are very good at night vision, but seeing orange colors all the time is probably not something they like at all. For me, one of the most interesting things is the vision of horses. Horses don't see the color red, they tend to see more of the blue, yellowish, and gray tones. It is believed that there is a blind spot in their field of vision that they cannot see because of the location of their eyes and the shape of their head. But what I found most incredible is that they can recognize a person from almost 500 meters away, and they don't recognize them by their face precisely, but by their way of walking and other body movements. I would say that the eyes of snakes do not differ much from those of other terrestrial vertebrates, but they do have some special characteristics. Certain types of snakes can see the Hutu of Rwanda that we cannot see. They can detect infrared radiation, being able to see the technical subject around them. And what does this mean? I also do not understand what it means, is that they can perceive the body heat of another animal. Even in low-light conditions, more or less like this. Now you know why I'm afraid of snakes, right? As I already saw, snakes and other animals perceive the world very differently than we do. Just commented on which animal left the most impression. Because it's Republican, the best comments on stories. Meanwhile, you should share the video with your friends. That sounds like a good idea. Also, so you can see other things. Stop. Just apply some pretty little windows that you see on your screen right now. Human eyes perceive 3 colors, red, green, and blue. Some animals see a 4th, ultraviolet. UV waves cause various problems, from sunburn to skin cancer. But we don't see them because the lenses of our eyes filter them out. Other creatures, large and small, are less fortunate. For example, when we look at an electrical wire, we see nothing but a long wire. And we simply know that it carries electrons to their destination. However, some animals see bright, flashing lights that scare them away. This is why reindeer avoid power lines in their Arctic recreation areas. What's going on? Poorly protected power lines emit a corona discharge that can sometimes look like a flash of light to animals that perceive ultraviolet radiation. It's not all bad news for animals like reindeer. Their UV perception also helps them find their favorite food, lichens, and detect predator urine. It also helps them stay away from dangerous power lines. It turns out that UV perception benefits a wide range of species. Bees rely on UV perception to trace lines on flower petals that point directly toward their prized nectar. Females use UV light to examine the plumage of males. Those with the most attractive color combinations win the race for reproduction. And some creatures experience light in many ways beyond infrared and